You are very much welcome to my channel. I am so delighted to meet you today. I'm so happy we are having this chat this morning. Or anytime it is there for you, I am happy we are together. Today we'll be looking at simplification of fractions. I'm going to be teaching us how to simplify fractional problems, okay? And let's start with these problems. I have about 3 of them to look at. I want you to get your pen and paper, sit back, and let's do this together. You need to write. I mean it, you need to write, okay? So this is my first problem. Three over 4 divided by 1 over 1 over 4 times 1 over 1 over 2 minus 2 over 3. We have a lot of operations here. Lots of operations to look at. We have division, that's the first step. We have multiplication. We have the bracket, and in the bracket we have subtraction. So we need actually to apply the rule of word maths so that we don't just solve anyhow. Okay, so this tells us that we start with the brackets. So I'm going to start with what we have in the bracket, but before that, the mixed numbers, I'm going to change them to improper fractions. Okay, so here this 3 over 4 is a proper fraction, so I'm not doing anything to it. Divided by, I have this mixed number here, so I'm going to change it to improper fraction by multiplying 4 by 1 and then add the numerator 1 to it, and that gives me 5 over 4. Okay, times. Now in the bracket I have one mixed number and then proper fraction. So this 2 will multiply 1 and then add 1 to it, and that is 3 over 2 minus 2 over 3, which is a proper fraction. So this is what we are going to do. I still have to write what I have outside the brackets. Okay, so let's start with what we have in the brackets. Now I will start with the denominators. They are not the same. So when you have denominators that are not the same to subtract or add, then you need to find the least common multiple. And luckily for us here, both denominators are prime numbers, so the least common multiple of both of them is just the product. So I'll just take 6, which is 2 times 3. And that becomes my new denominator. Remember, we have multiplication here, okay? Don't forget. So this is 6. Now I'm going to divide the 6 by the first denominator, which is 2, and that is 3. And then multiply the 3 by 3 here, and that gives me 9. So I have 9, the sign is minus. I'm subtracting. Divide the same 6 by the second denominator, which is 3, and you have 2. And multiply 2 by 2, you have 4. Okay, so I'm going to write again 3 over 4, which we've not worked on. We are just having it outside the brackets. Then times. So 9 minus 4 gives me 5. So I'm going to have 5 over 6. Okay, so I'm done with the bracket. I'm having everything outside now. So next is division. Remember D before N, which is multiplication. So that I will work on. So what I'm going to do is to change this division to multiplication. And if I do that, I'm going to change this fraction. The denominator becomes the numerator, and the numerator becomes the denominator. So I'm going to invert. Okay, invert this. So I'm going to have 3 over 4 times 4 over 5 times 5 over 6. So it has nothing to do with 5 over 6, just the fraction next immediately after the sign. Okay, So others remain the same. So I have 5 denominator and numerator, so I will cancel, and this also will go. So the numerator remaining is 3 and the denominator remaining is 6, which I can further simplify, and if I do that, I'm going to have 1 over 2, and that is our final answer. So if I simplify this fractions I have here based on the operations between them, 3 over 4 divided by 1 whole number 1 over 4 times bracket open, I have 1 whole number 1 over 2 minus 2 over 3. The final answer will be 1 over 2, which is half. Try it and drop your comments in the comments box below. So let's go to number 2 question. Question number 2. Okay. So my number 2, I will have this to share with us. So I have 2 whole number. Okay. 1 over 3 divided by another 2 whole number. 2 over 3 multiplied by 1 over 1 over 7. So we do not have fraction on this. So what do I do? Okay, so they are all mixed numbers, so I would like to reduce them to improper fraction. So to do that, I'm going to multiply 3 here by 2, that is 6, plus 1, and that gives me 7 over 3. Divide by 3 multiply 2, 6 plus 2, I have 8 over 3 times, okay, 7 times 1 plus 1, 8 over 7. So the same thing we did to division over there, I'm going to do the same to this division here, okay? So I'm going to change it to multiplication, 7 over 3 times, and then this numerator becomes the denominator, and denominator becomes the numerator, and that is 3 over 8, then times 8 over 7. So I have quite the same number at the numerator and also at the denominator. Let's start with 7. So this 7 divide itself 1, divide here 1, 3 divide itself here 1, divide itself here 1, 8 divide itself here 1, divide itself 1. So I'm having 1 over 1, which is equivalent to 1. So that is your final answer. In this fraction, if you simplify it well, your answer becomes 1. Okay, so let's go further to my last question for today, which is question number 3, and I have this fraction for us to look at together. So let's do it. So I want you to pay attention. I have 4 whole number, okay, 2 over 9 minus 1 over 13, 13 over 15, all over 2 whole number 1 over 5, okay, plus 4 over 7 times 2 whole number 1 over 3. Okay, let me start with the numerator. I have 2 mixed numbers, and I'm subtracting. I want to subtract like this. There are several ways you can do it, but I want to subtract like this. I want to subtract the whole part. That is 4 minus 1. And then I'll also subtract a fractional part, which is 2 over 9 minus 13 over 15. This is what I'm going to do. Okay. For the denominator, I'm also going to change. Let me change this to improper, and that gives me 11 over 5 plus 4 over 7 times this will be 7 over 3. Okay, remember we'll start with the inboard math. So for the denominator, I'm going to start with multiplication. So this can divide themselves, and now I'm left with 4 over 3. So let's start with this bracket. I have 4 minus 1, which is 3. Okay, so the next, the LCM of 9 and 15, which is 45. Okay, if I divide 45 by 9, I have 5 times 2, I have 10. Okay, minus 45 divided by 15 is 3 times 13, I have 39. Okay, that's for the numerator. For the denominator, I'm having 11 over 5 plus 4 over 3. Okay, now this number is less than this, and I have a whole part here, so I'm going to borrow 1 here. So if I borrow 1 here, it becomes 45. Okay, so because we have 45 as the denominator here, so I'm going to add it to this number. So this is what I'm going to have. Because I'm taking 1 here, the remaining is 2. Okay, so I'm going to have 45 plus 10 now, minus 39, all over 45. So it's 45 because the denominator is 45. Then below, I'm going to take the LCM of these two, which is 15. So let me put it in brackets so it doesn't confuse us. So I have 15. Okay, they are prime numbers. I simply multiply, and then divide 15 by 5 is 3. Multiply by 11 is 33. Okay, 33 plus. Divide 15 by 3 is 5. Multiply, you have 20. Okay, so should I continue on that side? Okay, let me come over here. So I have 2. So if I add, I have 55. Okay, minus 39 over 45 for the numerator. Then below, I'm going to have 53. Okay, 53 all over 15. So if I tidy up my numerator, I'm going to have a 2 whole number. So subtracting, I have 16 over 45. So I would like to use the sign of division. So to avoid confusion, I have 53 over 15. So I also want to change this to improper. That's 45 times 2, 90 plus 16, and that gives me 106. Okay, over 45. So I change this to multiplication, which is times. In fact, this I have 15 over 53. Okay, this to itself is 1. This divided by 15 is 3. Okay, 53 to itself is 1 into 106 is 2. So we have remaining 2 over 3. And that is your final answer. So if you have any question, you can drop it in the comment box below. Try it again and again, and even take other questions and try them using the same format. Okay, step by step, and you will surely get your answer correct. Thank you for listening, and God bless.